Jessica Lynn, welcome back to Australian Musician.
Thank you for having me. It feels so good to see you again.
You too. 2020's been a pretty crazy year. How have you been coping?
That's an interesting question. You have to find the silver lining and be positive in everything and anything. It was a very hard year for the band and I. We lost a 12-country, 80-date tour that was still being added to, a tour that took me a whole year to put together. And it was a very difficult loss, not just career-wise, but also emotionally. It's like your little baby that you can't wait to, see and do. And it was really hard, but we were supposed to release an EP before the tour, and because we were then home, it's turned into a full-length record. That's my first full-length record. We've done some incredible things with the singles we've gotten to release. Billboard and CMT, and amazing things that I've only dreamed about being a part of since I was a little girl. And so it's, if you have the right mindset and a positive attitude, the good things will come, even in the worst of times.
Yeah. Have you taken the time to learn any new skills?
Yeah, I've actually rekindled my love for the piano. I was classically trained on the piano as a kid. That was my first instrument I ever played. And I was doing all of these guitar live streams online, and I was saying, okay, there's only so many times I could do this same guitar and play my songs over and over again. So I started doing these weekly ticketed piano live streams where I take any and all requests that come in. And it's become this really fun thing every Wednesday that we do. And I would say that's definitely been a new skill, just kind of playing anything and anything, trying to rack my brain for what the melodies are. And it's really tested my musicianship.
Yeah. Love Me That Way is your new single. Tell me about the song, how that came together.
So that song I wrote about 2 years ago on a radio tour. My husband and I were traveling the country in a little rental car, meeting and greeting at all the radio stations that were playing my first song to ever break the top 40 on country radio, called Let's Don't. And we had seen A Star Is Born right before we left. And I was so inspired by the music and the story in that movie that it made me feel so creative. And Love Me That Way came to me in the car. I literally took my guitar out of the back seat and I was writing it like this as he was driving. And the reason I love that song so much is because I'm not the traditional or typical country artist. I'm a New York Italian girl. My music has a lot of influences of soul and rock and roll and the blues and in it. And because I'm really a melting pot, being from New York. And Love Me That Way, I think it embodies that. I think it's a very good representation of who I am as an artist.
Yeah. Not all song ideas get to become fully fledged songs. At what point do you know if a song is going to work or not?
So I have a test that I do. And my test is that if I write a song and then I can't remember it the next day without referring to any notes or audio or anything, I throw it out. Because if I can't remember my own song, it's not that good. No one else is ever going to remember it. And that's honestly, I live by that rule.
Yeah. So how do you document your ideas generally? Do you reach for your phone, or do you try to get to the studio as quick as possible?
How I record them in my phone, and I also write them on the notepad in my phone so I can have easy access all day, because the way I write is I can't sit down and say I'm going to write something. I have to feel it in the moment. And then once I have a little work tape together, I go into the studio and I do myself, just basic guitar, vocals, any harmonies. I do any basic lead guitar lines that need to be on there, and I give it to the band, kind of the skeleton. I do the drums, and I let them then put their own spin and magic on it.
Yeah. So where are you at with the album?
We're getting close. We have 2 songs left to do the vocals on. And then I have to do piano on those 2, and then we're going to add 1 more. We keep just adding, like we have the time, might as well put everything on it that I really want to put on it. I was back and forth about this one song, and I was like, you know what, let's just do it. So we have 3 left, technically. We're getting really close.
Yeah. I used to enjoy running into you at the NAMM show. And
Oh,
unfortunately, there's no NAMM show in January. It's been replaced by this virtual thing, Believe in Music Week. But you developed some great relationships with companies at NAMM. Have you come up with any new endorsements or any new gear this year?
it's so funny because I am so not a gear person. I love NAMM for the networking and the meeting people because I am a people person 100%. Like it's so fun to meet people like you. You're from all around the world, all that love music. My husband, the whole rest of the band, they are total gear heads. So for me, when I like what I like and I love my guitar and I don't care if it costs $100, like, you know, it's just, that's what I like. So I'm not one that often seeks out new gear. But we have some amazing companies that we've been working with for years, like D'Angelico Guitars, D'Addario, Dunlop we work with. RCF is our speaker company. Line 6 we've been doing some stuff with. And my husband just got a Sur guitar, which he's totally obsessed with. So I'm really excited for him.
So when you do get a songwriting idea, what is the guitar that you reach for?
I actually got one of my best friends. He is my guitar tech when we travel, but he's actually a hairdresser, so he doesn't travel with us all the time because he's busy with his salon. But he surprised me for Christmas and got me a beautiful Zamitis acoustic guitar, and I was just so shocked. He came over and I was in the office working and I heard his voice talking to Steve, my husband. And I walked in, I was like, what are you doing here? And I just see this guitar so beautifully presented in the middle of the living room. He's like, I got you a surprise. And that's been my go-to to write with ever since then. I actually wrote 90% of the new record on it because I felt like it was just a sweet gesture, and there's such good energy in it from that. So it's actually right here. So
Wow, that's nice.
it's beautiful, and it's a larger body, so the sound is just look how big it is compared to me. It looks ginormous on me, which is why it wouldn't be a stage guitar. But it's very positive vibes when I sit down with that. And I don't know, it gives you a different feeling knowing someone believed in you so much to give you such a beautiful gift.
Yeah. Changing strings is such a painful process. How often do you do it with your guitar?
Never. It's so bad. Everybody wants to kill me. I never break strings. I literally will leave my string. My husband is going to kill me when I make him change my strings, because when they absolutely have to be changed. But I like almost get superstitious about it. Like I've had so many good shows on this string set. I don't want to change it. So, I mean, honestly, like it's really bad. I'm not even going to tell you how often I do. I'll be crucified.
Well, it's probably a good advertisement for the brand of strings you use, which I think are D'Addario, aren't they?
They are. They are. And my picks. So they go hand in hand with the amount of pressure applied to those very trusty year-old, did I just say it, strings?
Last night you presented a live stream from Daryl's house in New York. To nobody in the room anyway. Certainly a lot of people out there watching, but how was that experience?
It was bizarre. I have to say, I've been doing so many live streams from home, but it's totally different when you have the whole band there. Like when I do a live stream like this, you know, I talk, I put my guitar down, it's very relaxed. When you have everybody standing there and the song ends and all you hear is our percussionist like putting his tambourine down on the table. But I felt oddly comfortable, I think, because of all the live streaming I've been doing. And it was really exciting to get to showcase a lot of the new music that nobody's heard before, a lot of the tour set that was supposed to be, in addition to the new music. And it felt really good. Honestly, it gave me kind of a life like that I needed to breathe back into music. It was so devastating losing everything. And then when that happened, it's like, oh, great, something to prep for, something exciting. And we've had over 20,000 views so far on it from last night. So I'm really so thrilled and excited. And I'm really proud of the band for being able to pull together and do something like that. That's so out of the norm.
Yeah, I saw your dad's Beatle bass with the American flag paint job. He must be his pride and joy.
Yes, it is. He's a very patriotic person. He's a retired New York City police officer. And he grew up loving Hofner because he's a huge Beatles and Paul McCartney fan. And I was really excited for him when he got endorsed by them about a year ago. It was like a lifelong dream to work with Hofner, and the people there are so nice. And I think he's getting actually soon, their warehouse has been closed, so he hasn't been able to go and do it, but he is going to get a blue line, like the police flag on a black Hofner. That will be his next baby.
That's great. Last night you played a song co-written with Devon Allman. How did that collaboration come about?
Really funny, the power of social media. Actually, this is a good story. I don't think I've ever told it in an interview. 5 years ago, I think it was, I get a message from someone on Instagram, and it was like, hey, I love your sound, and where are you based? Would you ever want to co-write or anything like that? And I'm looking at his videos. I'm like, wow, this guy's like really good. And I was really impressed. I was super interested to collaborate. And I said to my husband, I'm like, this guy, he's like amazing. Look at these videos. Like, wow, this is really some stellar musicianship here. And he looks at the name. He's like, Jess, is this like Allman Brothers? I'm like, no, definitely not. I had no idea. I was talking to him for so long and just had no clue like that he was who he was. And we became really good friends, like really good friends. I went and I stayed at his house for almost a week, and we wrote together. And he's just such a wonderful person and so insanely talented. And Crushin' came out of a phone call writing session that we did together not too long ago.
Yeah. Australia's greatest music export, AC/DC, released a new song yesterday.
I heard.
You've been known to break out an AC/DC song or two. Do you remember the first time you heard AC/DC?
Oh, I wish I could remember the first time I heard them, but we actually did. I don't know if you saw on the stream last night, but we used to do Shook Me All Night Long on the show, and then this year we swapped it out for Highway to Hell. There's just something about that band. It just gets you so pumped, like listening. The thing I love about them is that they're so raw while still sounding polished somehow. And they're so commercial yet hard at the same time. They just have such a cool, I don't know, if you don't get amped up listening to AC/DC, like there's something wrong with you. But I don't remember the first time I ever heard them, but I'm sure it was a totally powerful moment in my life.
Yeah, it was actually the first band I ever saw at my local high school.
Really?
Yeah, so I have great memories of the band.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yesterday also we lost the great Eddie Van Halen. Were you a Van Halen fan at all?
I love all rock and roll. Like Van Halen wasn't always my go-to, but I mean, what an immense loss for the rock and roll community. Such a pioneer of sound and style. Like people like that, I think, regardless if you're a huge fan of their music or not, I mean, and I did love it. But people like Elvis, like people that have really changed the game with what they do and their unique brand of music. Like I always think that that's just a sad day.
Yeah. So what's on for the rest of 2020? What are your revised plans?
Yeah. So we're finishing up the record, and we have pre-orders right now available through my website. That's the only way you will get to hear the record until April 30th of next year, which is we're going to release it digitally. So our plan is up to then to just keep releasing singles off of it. So about half the record will be out for public consumption until the whole thing drops in April. And we're planning the whole tour, the whole big 5-month long tour got moved to next May 1st it starts. So I'm just having faith, staying positive that everything's going to go as planned. We're actually actively adding dates to it, which is really exciting. And I'm just moving forward. I think you have to just move forward as if there's no chance of anything going wrong, because if you sit and wait, life is going to pass you by. It really is. And you don't want to wait so long and then things start opening back up and everything's fine and you're not prepared to get out there and do what you got to do. So we're full steam ahead.
Yeah. All right, Jessica Lynn, it's been great to catch up, and all the best.
Same here. It was so nice to see you. Thanks for having me.